Alright, this is Andrew with Jordan Home Inspection. We are doing a sewer scope today here in Salt Lake. We're at 1674 Garfield Ave. Today is May 15th, 2025. And we have the camera pushed out 125 feet to the city connection. So that's the nose on that you're seeing on the screen now. That's where it transitions from your lateral line into the main city line. It looks like a good connection there. Right off the bat, a little bit of an offset. That one, I would say moderate in size. An offset where the pipe's kind of slipped and left that lip. And that's a spot where waste could potentially get stuck. And if enough waste gets stuck there, that could lead to a blockage where it backs up towards the house. There's some roots. Those are smaller ones, but roots nonetheless. There's some bigger ones. Already enough roots that I'd recommend having this line cleaned. That way waste isn't getting stuck and creating a blockage where it backs up into the house. That's much bigger roots there. Already some toilet paper starting to get caught. This looks like transite which is cement. If it is transite, that's cement asbestos, which is how it looks from what I can tell so far. Once you have roots, you're always going to have roots, and so that'll be a maintenance item that you want to keep up on in the future. I would also recommend getting home serve, sewer protection. It's similar to insurance, and they would clean the line if you had an issue, and they would help repair it if it had a bigger issue. And I think they cover up to $10,000 right now. It doesn't cover what's under the house. They have a separate insurance available, but the interior drain line service doesn't cover nearly as much. I would also recommend getting the plan on your water line. You have an old galvanized line here, and eventually that will need to be replaced, and so I'd recommend getting the plan on that as well. It's not very expensive on either, and I think it's well worth it. So we've been seeing more and more roots, so I would recommend getting it hydro-jetted. You don't want to just cable it. Cabling it's just gonna go past the roots. It'll get some, and it's great if you're having an active backup, but at this point you want to hydro-jet it, and that would blast everything out. And then also they would look at it after with a camera, make sure they got everything, but once it's been cleaned, you're going to be able to see a lot more as well. Little standing water there, far from the worst that I've seen, but might indicate a little bit of a flat spot. Whatever that is on the right hand side of the pipe is suspect. Hopefully it's not a piece of pipe is the concern. Looks soft though. I don't think that's a broken piece. You do have some roots there. And good half of the pipe's being covered there with roots. So now we're transitioning to cast iron. Cast iron's kind of the weakest link. It gets rough and rusty and will eventually need to be replaced. And this is under the house, and so this is the most difficult spot to get to. And this is the area that I was describing that you can get insurance on it, but they only cover, I think, $3,500 on interior lines, which isn't going to go very far at all when you're eventually breaking up the basement slab to get to this. I have seen plenty of houses use their cast iron for decades longer than this house has been around, but I've also seen some houses already need to replace their cast iron that were built around the same time. So it's somewhat unpredictable. With the cast iron, I would recommend getting it coated. That's where they clean it with a chain, and that would make it nice and smooth so that it's less likely for waste to get stuck on it. We're just coming up the roof stack now, so nothing to really see here. So just a recap, you have a lot of roots. Looks like you have a cement line and then cast iron under the house. I would recommend getting the line cleaned now based on how many roots you have. You have a couple offsets. The only way to permanently fix an offset is to dig it up and do a spot repair. Luckily, these offsets were on the more minor side, but still there nonetheless. And then cast iron under the house. Eventually that will need to be replaced. At a minimum today, I'd recommend cleaning the line, looking at it again, and getting the insurance. But also be aware that you still have cast iron, and eventually that'll need to be dug up. I'm going to end this recording now.